Back in March, when Microsoft 365 Copilot was first announced, I published a video here highlighting how I felt Microsoft had just won work. At their latest event, with their latest series of big AI announcements, I think we have a picture of what Microsoft's AI endgame is. They aren't focusing on winning work, they're focusing on winning life. There were really two big headlines that were my takeaways from the event. First, we finally have a release date for Microsoft 365 Copilot. It'll be with us November 1st, with a big potential caveat that I'll get to later.
Microsoft 365 Copilot is your AI assistant at work. After months of learning alongside hundreds of customers like Visa, General Motors, KPMG, and Lumen, I'm excited to share that Microsoft 365 Copilot will be generally available for enterprise customers on November 1st.
And second, while we've been waiting for Microsoft 365 Copilot with bated breath, that's actually not Microsoft's big AI reveal at all. Their ambitions are bigger, with Microsoft Copilot, essentially a copilot to rule them all, being the tool that will transcend any one workload to be your partner, not just from 9 to 5, but from your morning alarm through to bedtime.
Today, we're announcing Copilot, our vision for everyday AI companion for you. No matter the context you're in, no matter whether you are at work, school, or home, no matter your device, operating system, or app, the Copilot is always going to be there to help you. We believe Copilot will fundamentally transform our relationship with technology and usher in a new era of personal computing, the age of Copilots.
This is a logical direction, but somewhat of a change for Microsoft. Despite its success in some areas of the consumer market, the most visible being Xbox, Microsoft's consumer ambitions to take its tools out of the office have historically been somewhat of a punchline. From the Zune, a product that had big promise but was ultimately outmaneuvered by the iPod, to various attempts at a Windows Phone, and even home life focused operating systems like Media Center PCs or home servers. These are all things consigned to a long history of Microsoft losses in the consumer space, firstly to Apple and more recently to Google. But it makes a compelling case for why this time around with AI things are different. It wants to move from its 90s ambitions of putting a PC on every desk to a new vision where its Copilot products can empower every person and every business on the planet.
I started at Microsoft when our mission was to put a PC in every home and every desk. And today we have a vision for a Copilot that can empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more.
And along with this, if it's successful, its capability to become a money printing machine really grows further from where we've even seen it now. Thanks for watching. Please remember to hit like on this video so we can maximise the number of people who see this content. And also remember to subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon so you know the next time I release a video. Also, outside of YouTube, if there are other people in your network who would be interested in content like this, please do consider sharing it there too. Thanks. It's unclear whether Microsoft Copilot is really a product in its own right, or just a rebranding to try to bring clarity for what has become quite an unwieldy ensemble of different Copilots with different capabilities across really all corners of its product stack. Based on the presentation and associated documentation, it seems like it's a mix of the two. At present, it's impossible to know how all these tools work together, as while Microsoft has been big on announcements through the year so far, it's been far slower to actually get features to general release. So we have a huge backlog of capabilities that have been demoed at Microsoft events, with a patchy roadmap of where and when these things will actually appear. For example, OneNote, which is definitely a Microsoft 365 app, has had a Copilot capability shown off at previous events, but OneNote Copilot has not been on the list of capabilities that will come online with Microsoft 365 Copilot. So it's all somewhat confusing. The big difference between what has been talked about before and these latest announcements is bringing the Copilot capabilities and product name to the consumer space, both in a soft way through the fact that many people do both work and life on the same device, and in a much harder way by specifically talking about Microsoft 365 Copilot for consumers. Have you ever wanted to snap a photo of a product and then buy it online? Your Copilot will help you do that. Do you want to check out some theatre while on a work trip to New York City? Your Copilot can help you with that too. These aren't huge leaps of imagination given the Copilot technology we've seen so far, but they are pivoting the Copilot idea from work to home life, or a combination of the two. I have to say that while I feel 100% comfortable with the idea of exposing all my business data to a secure AI tool, I did immediately have a slight negative reaction in my gut to Microsoft's same tooling suddenly having access to everything in my personal life too. Do we really want a tool that sees we have a meeting in a particular town and then offers us some restaurant reservations and maybe coupons for hotel upgrades? I'm not totally sure that's exactly what Microsoft is getting at here, but I feel certain that a lot of people will have a similar instinctive reaction without really knowing why. Ultimately, we need more information about how data is used and how it's surfaced, and what barriers exist between different personal and business accounts when using AI features across multiple accounts on the same device. The importance of the device was a big part of this event, or more accurately, the operating system on that device. Windows hasn't been exciting for a long time, but we have a big update coming for Windows 11 on September 26th that, among other things, will give us more AI capabilities.
First up, I'm excited to share that Copilot will begin to roll out as part of a new Windows 11 release starting on September 26th. This release will have over 150 new features, and I believe it's the most ambitious update to Windows 11 since we first released it.
I demoed Windows Copilot in a video a couple of months back, so I won't dwell on what this is. There's a link to that video below. But I actually think in some ways the options for AI capabilities in the operating system is one of the places where this tech is most exciting. In the same way that a tool like Power Automate Desktop allows us to leverage the broader capabilities of the operating system to operate with software outside of Microsoft's stack using robotic process automation, or RPA, conceptually getting Copilot into the operating system gives Microsoft's AI tools those capabilities too. I see this as a place where the combined capabilities of Copilot and process mining could come together to truly intelligently automate tasks towards common and established goals, but on a per-user level of customization. This potential is immensely exciting, but also a little scary if you scale it up beyond work devices to Copilot being a helper on any device. Has anyone asked for machine learning powered swiping on their favourite dating apps? It might not be too far out of the realms of possibility with the tech that's in the pipeline. I think we need to know a lot more about exactly how Windows Copilot will end up interacting with different types of data on a device. The most secure environments securely isolate a device to one type of use, but across most of the businesses I work with, it's not uncommon for workers to use the same devices for lots of different tasks that to some degree commingle the business and the personal. And for businesses like mine, I work with data from across lots of different businesses, so it's essential for me to understand what a tool like Windows Copilot might be doing in the background, particularly if it's doing it outside the context of the graph indexes housing the connected data of any one entity I'm working with at a time. For example, can Windows Copilot leverage information displayed in Edge across two different profiles? Does it understand those profiles assigned into different tenants? There's lots of questions floating around my mind, and I will keep seeking out these answers, which may or may not have been addressed in any of the masses of information Microsoft has been producing on these sorts of topics. So getting back to the release date of Microsoft 365 Copilot, I mentioned that there were potentially caveats on that November 1st release. And it's this. At the event, they specifically called out that that release date is for enterprises. So, as you may know, there are two tiers of Microsoft 365 product licenses that are eligible for a Copilot add-on. Enterprise tier E3 and E5, and Business tier Standard and Premium. We've known for months that at launch, these are the only base licenses you can use to apply a Copilot add-on licenses. However, a wrench was thrown into that understanding at the end of that segment of the presentation when it was mentioned that the Microsoft 365 Copilot was in testing with a select group of small businesses and consumers.
We want to help everyone unleash their creative superpowers. I'm excited to share Microsoft 365 Copilot is now in preview with a select group of consumers and small businesses.
Small businesses, okay, they should be on business tier commercial licenses. That makes sense. But consumers? How is Microsoft 365 Copilot going to be applied to consumer Microsoft 365 subscriptions? I mean, I can't see many families adding a $30 a user a month offering to their M365 family plan. In specifically calling out Microsoft 365 Copilot for Enterprise being launched November 1st, it leads to the question of this being a tiered rollout where those on business tier plans still have to wait. This is backed up by the latest Microsoft 365 blog that states that availability of Microsoft 365 Copilot on November 1st is for enterprise customers through their account representative, meaning that anyone who is on web-based commercial direct licensing is likely out of luck. This is frustrating. These tools have the potential to level the playing field for small businesses against the bigger businesses they compete with, but only if they can get their hands on them. Microsoft can wax lyrical about its utopian view of the future using its AI tools, but if its actions are always squarely on the immediate commercial imperative rather than the more long-term benefit, these words will be increasingly hollow. I also think these words may catch up to them if they don't carefully walk the line of being the best possible steward of these technologies, as they are clearly in the lead position on AI right now. There were a couple of other interesting things I noticed in their demos. The big one was the potentially limited nature of Copilot chat. In the examples Microsoft showed, the chat clearly had a 20 interaction limit, and the input box was limited to 2,000 characters. This is interesting considering last month OpenAI highlighted the unlimited nature of its ChatGPT Enterprise offering, giving you no limits fast access to GPT-4. Clearly, Microsoft does not give you unmetered access to GPT-4, even with your $30 a month Microsoft 365 Copilot license. And while a 2,000 character input limit still does not reveal the overall context window they're working with, having such a small input frame would imply to me that there are some technical limitations placed on Copilot that you won't necessarily see in ChatGPT Enterprise or a competitor like Claude. Overall, Microsoft's direction on AI technology continues to be exciting. Other announcements like DALL-E 3 coming to Bing Chat and to Microsoft Designer, and Outlook getting a sound like me writing style to mimic the user it's drafting content for, are welcome steps forward that show Microsoft is seeking to outpace the competition. The announcement of Copilot Lab as a central location for end users to learn about AI and to share best practice in prompt engineering shows Microsoft's continued commitment not just to the best technology, but also empowering users and organizations with the best training. The announcement of cryptographically tagging AI-generated imagery was welcome and demonstrates a continued commitment to AI safety too. This push toward the consumer might be logical, but I think many might find it creepy. I think we're reaching a tipping point where these announcements are somewhat moving from exciting to feeling like they just need to start delivering so people can wrap their hands around it. It's all very well to say Microsoft 365 Copilot isn't just about work, but can be about your life too. But for anyone outside the 600 businesses that are part of the early access program, there's very little understanding about what it means for work, so the leap of what it means for life is just too much. The idea of tech companies dog-fooding their own products in that they try their products internally is important. And clearly Microsoft has been doing this with their AI tech. But I think they are really starting to forget that most of us have no idea what these products feel like in action, and therefore each of these layered announcements hits less fully than the last. Back when Microsoft 365 Copilot was announced, I felt genuinely excited. Watching these latest announcements, I felt more like we just need less talk and more action. What do you think? Are you still excited for Microsoft's products, or have you moved on to the ones you can actually get your hands on like Duet AI? Let me know down in the comments. I just want to remind everyone that I will soon, probably in the next couple of weeks, be releasing my first book, Who's in the Copilot Seat? The Ultimate Guide for Small Business Leaders in the Age of AI. And it does cover most of the topics that I've talked about in this video today. So if you're interested in that, there is a link down in the description where you can sign up to get a bit more information and know when it's released. Thanks for watching through to the end. I hope this video has been useful to you. I do look forward to seeing what you have to say about this announcement, and do check out the link to the announcement itself and the video that they shared down below. Thanks for watching. Until the next video, bye bye.